Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rose to speak on behalf of the Greens on the Property Stock and Business Agents Amendment Property Industry Reform Bill 2017 and express the Greens' support for this bill. Anything that we can do to be able to address the way that renters are able to be protected in this state is a very good thing, and as all renters know, that there are many challenges around dealing with real estate agents, and unfortunately, and perhaps as we've seen from some of the reports that this minister has seen, there have been many reports of dodgy deals and dodgy problems when it comes to real estate agents. And so it is good to see that actually what we're seeing in this bill is an aim to increase training and licensing requirements of property and real estate agents to reduce risk to customers, but also see a number of other reforms that will improve change in this space. What we know now is that there are many areas throughout New South Wales where renters are actually outnumbering the people that are actually living with a mortgage, and that is a huge generational shift that is occurring, and I would urge those on the government side, especially some of those that sit in ministerial portfolios and the Premier herself, to have a look at some of the stats in their own electorate, where perhaps for the first time we see that in actual fact we are seeing the number of renters in those blue ribbon Liberal held seats outnumbering the people that actually have mortgages. Why? Because what we're seeing is a whole generation of young people. We're seeing older people that have the ability to be able to own their home outright, but we're seeing a whole generation of younger people that are completely cut out of the property market. It is not a realistic prospect, and while I recognise that some people, while we have had reports that the home ownership rates have gone up for first home buyers, we must recognise that owning a home is not a reality for many young people in our current state, and as a result we need to be doing all that we can to be protecting the rights of renters, and it's one of the things that I have been strongly advocating for since being elected in 2015, to see an impressive new change of reforms for renters to be able to protect their rights. One of the things that we know is that we see that the power disimbalance between some of the real estate agents and the renters are a huge part of the pressures put on renters. We also know that in many cases the people that are the property managers in these real estate agencies are actually themselves renters, usually in a junior position in the role, and have more complaints and more responsibilities within a property portfolio that they can actually manage. And so what we know is that if you're a renter living in Enmore, or you're a renter living in Redfern and your oven breaks or your window breaks or there's some issue with the lock on your door, you might ring up the person.
The member for Ebbing Rise is on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, I accept that the member for Newtown is very passionate about the rights of renters, but she ought to direct her comments in relation to the debate on this bill to the substance of the bill.
Look, I would say that the member for Balmain, she is straying from the main lead of the bill, and I would ask her to address the objects of the bill and the main lead of the bill.
Thank you, Speaker. I will say that in summary, one of the things that this bill does is actually address the high rates of complaints in the property and real estate sector, as 9% of the complaints to fair trading. I would say that in actual fact, my understanding is that the Minister for Innovation and Better Regulation said in his second reading speech that the reform package that is being put forward here is being putting consumers, I'm quoting now, put consumers first by improving educational and professional standards across the industry, improving accountability and transparency. I was simply pointing out the problems that this bill is trying to address in one small part by pointing out the challenges that renters face if their oven is broken, if their lock is broken, and if they have other challenges that they try to report to their real estate agent. But because of the challenges around the real estate industry, because of the issue around real estate agents, that actually these reforms are very welcome. One of the other things that is very welcome is to see the banning of gifts and donations, and it's good to see that this bill seeks to prohibit licence holders from receiving certain gifts. This is imperative to the integrity of the office and something which should also apply to political parties. Donations can corrupt the integrity of the office, and this is true whether you are a politician or a real estate agent. I think we could all agree. The suspension of licences, we support the provision that allow licences to be suspended for up to 60 days, and this is an important measure to be able to give the rules teeth. It is clear that what we need here to be able to address the issue of housing affordability and the housing crisis in this state is not just to look at the needs of first homeowners, not just to look to the people that are currently living with mortgages or own their home outright. We need to also look at the reforms that we can deliver for renters in this state, because by making those reforms, we will see the fundamental premise of housing as a human right being delivered in this state. Good to see these changes. Anything that strengthens up regulation around the real estate and property industry is a welcome thing, and the Greens are happy to commend the bill.